Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Bratya Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Bratya Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Bratya Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajyakacharya Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 88. Text is a number of verses. It starts with 31. Yeah. My eyes still work a little bit. 31. Okay, so I'll read still the verse with the purple. The verse on the board is... Yeah, 38. Eh? So I read first till 38, then we read together. So Sukadev Goswami said, that's text 31, thus questions by the personality of Godhead in language that poured down upon him like sweet nectar, Vrika felt relieved of his fatigue. He described to the Lord everything he had done. You all know the story, no? Yeah? Not all, okay. So Vrikasura, he was a demon, a very bad guy. And he prayed to Lord Shiva for a benediction. He did severe austerities. And then Lord Shiva, he became pleased with him. I don't know, did he want to throw his head in the fire, cut his head and offer his head into the fire? Is that Vrikasura? Yeah, I think that's Vrikasura. And then Lord Shiva said, he came and he said, what are you doing? He said, well, I wanted benediction. He said, oh, you don't have to do such severe austerities. Anyway, Lord Shiva gave him a benediction. And then he said, I want that whoever I touch his head with my hands, his head will crack in 1,000 pieces and he will die then. And Lord Shiva, it's very hard to understand. Lord Shiva, he kind of gave him that benediction. And then he looked at Lord Shiva and he said, now I'm going to touch your head. So Lord Shiva ran away. And so after a long while, then Lord Shiva, he came up Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. And he said, okay, I will help you. And so Lord Krishna came to Vrikasura and he said, why are you running so hard? I can see you're sweating and you're shaking from tiredness. You know that this material body is very valuable for a materialist. And why you do this? Yeah, well, I want to get Lord Shiva to break his head. And then he said, why you want... he said, why is this? Well, he gave me a benediction. Oh yeah, wait, I don't give the story away because the rest of the story is here. So then Krishna, he went to Vrikasura, so that was the verse here now, and he spoke with words which poured up him like waves of nectar. And when Krishna speaks, it's like nectar, an ocean of nectar floating into your ears. So, and the Lord, he said, and then Vrikasura told him what happens. Yeah? Then we get text 32. The Supreme Lord said, if this is the case, I cannot believe that I cannot believe what Shiva says. Shiva is on the same level of the Pretas and the Pichasas, whom Daksha cursed to become like carnivorous hobgoblins. That's ghosts and spirits. Lord Shiva is like ghosts and spirits, and he's like a hobgoblin. Don't believe everything Krishna says. He doesn't think like this about Lord Shiva, for sure. Instantly his head... Oh, wait. One page here. So, text 33. The best of the demons. If you have any faith in him, because he is the spiritual master of the universe, then without delay, put your hand on your own head and see what happens. Yeah? So, yeah, he said, I would not believe Lord Shiva, but if you have any belief in him, put your hand on your head and see what happens. This is the illusory potency of Krishna. He puts him in illusion. If the words of Lord Shiva prove untrue in this way, O best of the demons, then kill the liar, so he may never lie again. Oh, here's a small purport. Lord Shiva may have the power to revive himself even after being killed, but at least he will be dissuaded from lying again. Text 35. Sukadeva Goswami continued, thus bewildered by the personality of Godheads, in chanting artful words, foolish Frika, without realizing what he was doing, placed his hand on his own head. So guess what happens? First text 36. Instantly the head shattered as if struck by a lightning bolt, and the demon fell down dead. From the sky were heard cries of victory, obeisances, and well done. Victory. Jai. Yeah? Jai means victory. Jai, that's it. Well done. So then it's text 37. The celestial sages, Pitas and Gandharvas rain down flowers to celebrate the killing of the sinful Frikasura. Now Lord Shiva was out of danger. Oh, wait. Yeah, so... Anyway, this is... okay, we read on till the purport is there. Text 38 and 39. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then addressed Lord Girisa, that's Lord Shiva, who was now out of danger. Just see, O Mahadev, my Lord, how this wicked man has been killed by his own sinful reaction. Indeed, what living being can hope for good fortune if he offends exalted saints, and what to speak of offending the Lord and the spiritual master of the entire universe? This has the purport. I think I missed which verse is on the board?
That one.
Huh?
That one, 38.
38, 39, okay. But you said it's Girisam.
Ja, Muktam Girisam.
Oh, here starts Muktam Girisam.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we do that together first. Then we read the verse in the purport. Muktam Girisam Abhaya Muktam Girisam Abhyaya Bhagavan Purushottama Aho Deva Mahadeva Papavam Ye Svena Papam Papmana. Okay, all together? Or there is more on the board? It's only 37, eh? Yeah. Muktam Girisham Abhyaya. after this, please. The translation of this verse, or two verses, the Supreme Personality of Godhead then addressed Lord Girisa, who was now out of danger. Just see, O Mahadev, and Mahadev means the greatest of the demigods, my lord, how this wicked man has been killed by his own sinful reaction. Indeed, what living being can hope for good fortune if he offends an exalted saint? What to speak of offending the Lord and spiritual master of the universe? So don't offend Lord Shiva or any devotee or anybody. That goes. You never know who the person is if we offend. That's one of the most important instructions in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and also in all the scriptures, but the Chaitanya Bhagavat for sure. Don't offend devotees, because that destroys everything. So we have to be very careful. You have to, like in Dutch, it's a gross saying, but like walking on eggs. If you walk on eggs, you walk very carefully not to break them. So we have to be very careful, because if you do, then you lose all your good fortune. So the purport here, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, this statement of Lord Krishna's implies a mild scolding. My dear possessor of unlimited vision, if you of clear intelligence, benediction should not be given to the wicked demons in this way. You would have been killed, but you were only concerned by saving this poor soul, and you disregarded what would happen to you as a result. So Lord Shiva, he should not have given this benediction, but Lord Shiva, he was only thinking of saving the soul. He didn't think about the results for himself. Lord Shiva is a very merciful personality. Thus, Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti points out Lord Narayan's mild rebuke and also highlighted Lord Shiva's exceptional compassion. So now text 40 is the last text. Now listen carefully, because this text will give a benediction. Lord Hari, the direct manifestation... I don't know what happened to my glasses. Lord Hari is the directly manifest absolute truth, the supreme soul, and the unlimited ocean of inconceivable energies. Now listen, anyone who recites or hears this pastime of his saving Lord Shiva will be freed from all enemies and the repetition of birth and death. That's a good one, no? So we will be freed from all enemies and the repetition of birth and death if we recite it or hear these pastimes. So the purport, there is a purport here, small. Srila Sridhar Swami concludes this chapter with the following statements. When Lord Kesava saw the danger confronting his devotee, his lotus-like heart became filled with sympathy. Thus he delivered Lord Shiva from the consequences of his own eloquent words. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganansya Salakya Jaksu Umilitan Gena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nevase Sunyavadi Pastashyade Starine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And so here the conclusion from Srila Sridhar Swami. Who knows who's Sridhar Swami? Srila Sridhar Swami. He is the original commentator of the Srimad Bhagavatam. All the commentaries the Acharyas were writing, that they base it on Srila Sridhar Swami. If you think you can write a better commentary than Srila Sridhar Swami, then you're a prostitute, said Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya mentioned that to, who was it? Vallabhacharya. Was it Vallabhacharya? I think, yeah, it was. Anyway, he said, I wrote a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam better than Sridhar Swami's. And Lord Chaitanya looked at it and said, okay, if you think you're better, as Swami means the master. If you think you're better than the master, then the master means our husband. If you think you're better than the, anyway. So Srila Sridhar Swami, he concludes this whole verse, or this whole chapter. And what is the essence of the chapter? Somebody remembers? It's just one line, 2 lines. I should remember it because I can't read it without glasses. I can ask you, can you remember it? I put on my glasses. So Lord Krishna, that was said, Lord Krishna is so merciful to his devotees that whenever his devotee is into trouble, he immediately comes to save him. That's the essence. And that's what we can learn from this chapter. I was thinking when I was preparing, and meditating on this chapter, what I'm going to say about this, but now hear this, the mercy of Krishna. that Krishna saves his devotees. Actually, it is said that in the spiritual world, it was said about Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya is no different from Lord Krishna. And we hear this often, but to actually understand it deeply is another thing. But Krishna, he is Swayam Bhagavan, or the Swayam Rupa. He's the original form. All the other forms come from Krishna, the Swayam Rupa. Narayan comes from him, or first Lord Balaram comes from him, and then the Chaturvyuha comes from Lord Balaram, and from the Chaturvyuha becomes Narayan, and like this. And from Balaram all living entities come. Yes, but the original form of the supreme absolute truth is Lord Krishna. And he and what does he do? And Lord Chaitanya, he is that same original form of Krishna. He is non-different. But we could say Lord Balaram is also, in one sense, he is little different from Krishna. But actually Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna. He's exactly Krishna himself. Anyway, so it's when Lord Chaitanya, he went to Suklambara Brahmachari and he said, I want to eat some rice which you have cooked. And you know what Suklambara Brahmachari said? He was a very elevated, very paka brahmana. He said, oh my Lord, I'm so sinful. I cannot cook for you. That's too much. No, Lord Chaitanya said, I want you to cook for me. And I want you to cook for me. And I will come tomorrow with all my with some of my associates, and we'll eat. So Suklambara Brahmachari, he was cooking the rice. He baked that rice. by many different places. He got a little rice, and then he cooked it, and he put a little banana trunk in it. I know that's probably for nice rice. And then when he was cooking and meditating on Lord Chaitanya, then the goddess of fortune came and she blessed the food. And then when Lord Chaitanya came and he ate the rice, it was complete ecstasy. He says, the best rice I ever eaten. And Suklambar Brahmachari, he fainted in ecstasy, and he was crying and fainting in ecstasy. Actually was said for a week long he was passed out in ecstasy. And then after a week he got to some semi-consciousness again. And then for another week he was walking through Navadvip as if, I don't know, he was in so much bliss because Lord Chaitanya accepted his rice. And then it was actually described a few verses further that Lord Chaitanya's his only activities. What is Lord Chaitanya's only activity? That is to please his servants. That's all he does. He doesn't do anything else than trying to please his servants. And that's with Krishna too. His only desire is to please his servants. And what is the only desire of the servant is to please Krishna. So that is going on in the spiritual world. The servants and the master, they constantly try to please one another. It's not that only the servant tries to please the master. No, the master also tries to please the servant. And if the servant sees that Krishna has accepted something from him, then he becomes so happy. I remember this pastime. It was Mother Yasoda. She together with Mother Rohini, and I think the gopis and Radharani were also cooking. They come actually every morning to cook for Radha, for Krishna. Radha comes every morning to cook for Krishna, a whole meal. And then there was this servant. He just had bathed Krishna and combed his hair. And then what is said, he had a golden box inlaid with all kinds of diamonds. And then Mother Yasoda said to him, here, take these cookies and keep them in this box for Krishna in the afternoon when he becomes a little hungry after playing so much. And then it was said to this servant, Patraka, I think, he put his box on his shoulder. And what was he thinking? He was thinking, this box with contents is more dear to me than millions of my life. Can you imagine that? We think our life is very important. Our life, our body, our life is very important. But these cookies, which he had to offer to Krishna, which was cooked by Radharani and Mother Yasoda, then this servant was feeling, this is so valuable to me. I take so best care of him. So that is the mood. And then the Lord Chaitanya said, yes, a servant is such a high level that even, well, don't become discouraged, that even after millions of lives of chanting Hare Krishna and performing all the austerities, you might not become a servant like this. I mean, anyway, I took that quote like, okay, it is very, very rare to become a servant. Yeah? If we here in the material world to become a servant, we say, oh, I don't want to become a servant. Who he thinks he is, for me to serve him. Let him do it himself, he has his own hands, So, Prabhupada said, when the conditioned soul thinks about service, he shudders. I don't want to serve, I want to enjoy. But the real thing is of the soul is that he is a servant, and he wants to become a servant, and to be a servant is also the most bliss, is the most happiness, the most satisfaction, the most anything, the most freedom. We want to be free, we want to be fully satisfied, we want to be fully express ourselves, who we are and what we can do, and that can be done if we become a servant. Because only when we are a servant of Krishna, we can understand Krishna, we can see Krishna. Ata Sri Krishna, no, that's the other verse. Anyway, this verse I came up with. So first of all, when we hear, okay, you have to become, we come to this Krishna conscious movement, you have to become a servant of Krishna, then you will become happy. And you think, well, I become happy. Okay, that sounds good. To become a servant, okay, that I deal with later, but I become happy. But anyway, so to serve Krishna, but then, do we understand Krishna? Do we see Krishna? Do we realize Krishna? Do we have any experience of Krishna? And then it says, no. In the beginning, we have no experience of Krishna. This famous verse, Ata Sri Krishna Namadi, Nabhavet Grayam Indriya, Seva Mukha He Jivado, Swayam Eva Spuratyada. That the form, the qualities and the pastimes of Krishna cannot be understood by the material mind and senses. There was the same thing in the previous chapter, the prayers of the sages personified. That Krishna, how can, because Krishna is transcendence, that means he is beyond the material plane, beyond our material senses, beyond our material minds, beyond anything. To understand him, he's completely beyond us. So how can that be? How can we understand that absolute truth? And then it says, Seve Mukhe He Jivado. By rendering service with and especially the tongue. By the tongue, if we serve with our tongue, then Krishna will become revealed. By devotional service, Krishna becomes revealed. One can know me only by devotional service, and when one is purified by such service, one can attain the kingdom of God. Well, it's funny, Sanskrit doesn't come, but anyway, it doesn't matter. You all know the Sanskrit now. Bhaktimam abhajanati, yavan yaschasmi tatvata, tato gyatvato gyatva, visate tat anantaram. So we can only know Krishna if we serve him. So that is the process. The complete bliss and ecstasy which we're all hankering for. And we're all hankering for endless bliss and ecstasy. And we're trying to find that here in the material world. Maybe a wife, maybe a television, maybe a house by the sea. Jai Jakadisa Hari, you know the famous mantra. But some or other, we try to become happy and satisfied within this material world. But there is no possibility for us to become happy and satisfied, because paradoxically, this is from the Krishna Karnamrita, paradoxically, it says Krishna is the only enjoyer, and he's also the only object of enjoyment. That's kind of a paradox. He's the only enjoyer, and who is Krishna? He's the enjoyer, and he's the only object of enjoyment. But if we help him in his enjoyment, then we also enjoy. And if we want to enjoy without Krishna, then we will not enjoy. Then we will only struggle. That is Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Ki, yeah. And so there is a process. The process of devotional service is given for us in order to understand who we are, and how we can come to love Krishna. So we actually want to serve him. In the beginning, we serve Krishna because we have some intellectual understanding, yes, or we have some hope or some faith that if I serve Krishna, then I will get what I want. Well, that's actually the definition of faith. Srade Sabde Visvas Surida Nischai Krishna Bhakta Hoile Karma Krita Hoi. That by serving Krishna, I will get everything I want. Even more than I can actually imagine. So, but then we start with practicing serving Krishna. And in the beginning is a practice, like the Seva Mukha He Jivado, by serving Krishna with our senses. Sarvapadi Vinir Muktam, Tat Parathena Nirmalam, Rishikena Rishikesa, Sevanam Bhakti Uchite, was a very famous verse, that if we serve Rishikesh, the master of the senses, then there is two side effects, that all our sarv upadi vinirmuktam, tat parathena, nirmalam. And nirmalam means all the dirty things will come from our head, and all our designations, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that, I'm strong, I'm weak, I'm rich, I'm poor, all those designations disappear by the service of the Lord. And if all these material designations disappear, the I, if that disappears, then it becomes Krishna, Krishna, and then we become happy. And then we read here in the Shastra so many times, that is the ultimate stage of sadhana bhakti. First, we practice. Srila Prabhupada, there is still deity worship in this age of Kali. It is not really the age of Kali yet. Actually, it was interesting thing. Well, Kali Yuga, we understand, it started 5,000 years ago, but it didn't really start yet, because they call it Sandhya. Sandhya means it's not that here it's Dwapara Yuga and the next day it's Kali Yuga. There is a period, a Sandhya, of like it's day and night, but it's not immediately day and then it's night. No, there is a period of twilight. So that's a Sandhya. And so the Kali Yuga, there is still a period which they call the Sandhya. I think it's 36,000 years, which the actual Kali Yuga will actually start much later. But it's already started. Anyway, the Sandhya, the mix of the two. And so there is still some deity worship. So in this deity worship, we can see, like Srila Prabhupada, he spoke about Raganuga Bhakti, and he says, generally, the pujaris, this is a good thing for the pujaris, they, by serving Radha and Gopinath, they become interested in how Radha and Gopinath are dealing with one another and all their devotees. And then gradually they will become interested in serving Radha and Krishna in a certain way. And so then we see how do we serve Radha Gopinath? By cooking for him, by doing artics, by dressing him, by praying to him, by dancing for him, singing for him, by making the garden nice for him, by throwing out the garbage, by washing the pots. All the things we are doing here in Radhadesh. It's Radha Gopinath is the center of everything we do in Radhadesh. The temple president, he is maintaining the temple for the pleasure of Radha Gopinath. The bookkeeper is doing the bookkeeping, so the money doesn't get wasted for Radha and Gopinath. The Bhakta leader, he's making new servants so they can serve Radha Gopinath. So this is the idea of deity worship. Everything we do, the deity is in the center of the temple. And then it's said that we might not understand that there is no difference between Radha and Gopinath in the spiritual world, the original form of the absolute truth, and the Radha and Gopinath here on the altar is exactly the same. There is not even a little bit of difference. Like that was mentioned that when Nanda Maharaj, he got, there was a snake and he tried to swallow Nanda Maharaj and you know, his head was still out of his mouth and he was yelling, help, Krishna, help. So the coward boys came and he was hitting the snake with fire and sticks and stones. The snake didn't want to let go. And then Krishna came, here again, to save his devotee, Nanda Maharaj. And he kicked the snake with his feet, and the snake immediately turned into a beautiful demigod, and Nanda Maharaj was saved. So then Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport how great it is to be touched by Krishna. Like all these sinful activities of the snake disappeared, and he took his form of a demigod again, pure form. So Prabhupada, he mentions that similarly, if you touch the deity, That's the same. If you touch the deity, it's the same. Or with so if you cook rice for the deity, that is the same. Suklambar Brahmachari cooks some rice for Lord Chaitanya, and it's the same if you're here in the altar and you cook some rice in the kitchen for Gopinath or for Lord Chaitanya. It's exactly the same. It's no difference. The only difference is that here we do it without full understanding. Well, with different levels of understanding. According to our understanding, we get a certain result. But by dressing Gopinath or cooking for Gopinath, we can get the same results as the eternal associates in the spiritual world have, if we do it with their kind of consciousness. And that's called Raganuga Bhakti. And we say Raganuga Bhakti is very high. Yes, it's very high. It's still part of Sadhana Bhakti. Because so in the beginning we cook, we clean, we dress the Lord. But we might not have this bhav, these moods of pure devotion. But we have a mood of, at least we are surrendered. Okay, we follow the rules and regulations in scripture. But gradually, more and more, by meditating on what is the right mood, then we become more and more purified. So we reach the devotees, just like, let's say we come to the temple for Mangalartik, and we come, okay, it's 4 o'clock, we go. And then, but what is the right mood? There's so many moods. But I was reading, the Krishna was still laying in his bed, in his palace, and then the cowherd boys, they came into the courtyard of the palace, and they were waiting for Krishna to come outside. And then it was said that those cowherd boys, they appeared like waves on the banks of the ocean of happiness. Like waves, they go on the beach and they spread over the beach. And similarly, the bank was considered Krishna, to go to Krishna. And the waves on the bank of the ocean of happiness were the cowherd boys. When we read about those things, we see the bhav or the moods of devotion which the pure devotees have for Krishna. And for us to meditate we meditate on the spiritual master, what kind of mood he has. You might say, well, this is too high, but we sing every morning, Sri Radhika Madhavayora Para, Madhurya Lila Gunarupanam Nam, Pratikshanaspha Danalolopasya, Panduguro Sri Charanaravindam. That's the afternoon melody. Anyway, that the spiritual master is always engaged in the loving service of Srila Radha and Madhava, and meditating and their forms, their qualities, and their pastimes. He's always inspiring for such meditation. So you think that when Srila Prabhupada wants us to sing this song every morning, that but don't meditate on Radha Madhava and their conjugal loving pastimes and forms and qualities. Of course he wants us to come to that platform. But sometimes it irritates me that when devotee says, it very much irritates me. When ISKCON we don't have this bhava, this raganuga, it's something like, you never did this, but if you do this or if you follow me, then you will get it. And so much irritates me, because that means complete misunderstanding of what we are doing here. Srila Prabhupada wants us to do our service with love and devotion and spontaneous love. Of course he wants us. So from the very beginning we can try to do with love and devotion. And that's Raganuga Bhakti. To be actually on that platform, then you have to be a liberated soul. No more material consciousness, no more material thoughts, no more material desires, no more nothing material. That's when actually the Raganuga becomes very powerful. But in my states at least, that's still a few lifetimes away. But at least we can try, we can read, just like we read here, how kind is Krishna, that he always comes to serve his devotees. Actually, my first experience in Krishna consciousness, this is what was before I met the devotees. I said, please God, help me, I'm so unhappy. I don't know what was happening. I was biking on Friday nights. I just got paid. I got on my new blue jeans and combed my hair, long hair, leather jacket, on the bike up to the favorite nightclub, and then you know all the bridges in the Vondel Park, the bridge, the famous bridge of Kadamba Karana Maharaj's heavy kirtans in that bridge. It's really noisy there, and exactly at that place, I said, God help me, I'm so unhappy. And I said, hey God, I don't even believe in God. And I'm not happy, I'm happy, you know, look, I have my new blue jeans, I have money in my pockets, I'm going to my club. And then what happened, I came to the club, and it wasn't a very, it wasn't where they did ballet and all high culture, it was a different club. But anyway, there I met a devotee, and he talked to you about Krishna, and after his talk, 4 hours, I was warned, because a friend told me, you see this guy there? That's Hare Krishna. Don't start talking with him because he can never stop talking. I said, okay, but anyway, I went to talk with him anyway, and 4 hours later, he had convinced me. But that's the point, Krishna will come immediately. I didn't even believe in God. I had no idea who God was, and I wasn't planning, but I asked for Krishna, and immediately a devotee was there, an hour later. So that was an experience which I still remember, that Krishna, he helps his devotees, and he can help us in any way. That after a while, it happened to me, it becomes a little difficult, the sadhana bhakti, and I don't want to talk about this. But anyway, I was looking for, yes, the devotional service is actually from the first day is very much happiness and bliss, and it's always like this, but we have to be careful that we put our heart into it. We have to put our heart into what we are doing. If we chant Hare Krishna and we put our heart into it, we ask Krishna very sincerely, like I did 47 years ago, Krishna, well, God, help me. He immediately helped me. So that still is there. If we put our heart in the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Or we put our heart into cooking something for Krishna. Patram puspam palam toyam yomad bhakti pranachiti bhakti aham abharitam asnami prachitat manaha. That if one offers me with love and devotion a little fruit, a leaf, or some water, then immediately I will accept it. And Srila Prabhupada, he says in the purport, if Krishna accepts something out of your hand, then you have no more desires for anything. If Krishna accepts our service, then he will give us millions times of what we actually desire. And we get this the famous story of Sudama Vipra, that's the one. Sudama Vipra, he had a bag of chip rice. Yeah, didn't have any more. And Krishna, he took it from his hands and he ate it. And he ate one little morsel and he wanted to take a next bite. And then the goddess of fortune said, Sri Rukmini Devi said to him, don't eat any more because I can't, I have nothing, I have no wealth to give this devotee because you accepted a little food from him. So just this one little chip rice, because it was given with love and devotion. And so whatever we do, we have to try to do it with some love. Now, yeah, it's easy to say, say chanting, you have to do chanting with love. And you say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then, sometimes you become sleepy. Well, definitely, if you're in the mode of ignorance, you can't do it with love. And sometimes you become passionate, the mode of passion comes. And you start thinking, maybe I should go here, maybe I should do that. You get in mode of passion. It's also very hard to chant Hare Krishna with love. And you can try, then you can do it in goodness. Well, goodness is already better. You feel clear, you feel bright, you have understanding. But actually, it has to be done with love. I want to please you, Krishna, because we have a relationship with Krishna. And I'm talking about those things, but it's very hard for me to understand this love. But of course, because I don't have it, not even in the material world, but there is the devotees of Vrindavan or in Vaikuntha, but here in our movements we basically talk about Krishna, not so much. We don't talk too much about Vaikuntha, a little bit in the Bhagavatam, but basically it's all Krishna, and Krishna lives in Vrindavan, and Krishna's devotees are the coward boys and the coward girls. So we follow in their footsteps, their moods of love. That's their mood of love. This Lalita, she is washing the hairs of Radharani, and she has this comb, a jeweled comb, and she's very carefully combing the hair of Radharani. And then she sings that I should not break one hair. Sometimes you have when you comb your hair, well, I don't have hair, the sika breaks sometimes pieces. But then if one hair breaks, that would be worse than me dying millions of times. This hair of Radharani is so dear. So even the hair, one strand of hair. So in this way we can see how the inhabitants of Vrindavan, how much they love Krishna. And Tulsi Maharani, I have this fortune that I'm the Tulsi Pujari for as long as I'm married, exactly as long as I'm married. That's 39 years now, almost 40 years. And anyway, so I can sit in the Tulsi house and be surrounded by Tulsis. This time Tulsi is doing very well, so it's like a big forest of Tulsis. And then when you chant with Tulsi, chanting with one Tulsi is good enough, but I'm a little hard. If I have 100 Tulsis around me, it feels a little better. Look, like, just normal neck beats. No, I'm not normal, see, I want lots. But anyway, then, with the Tulsi, then, yes, she has these moods. These moods of love and devotion. She's the best devotee. Well, so many devotees. Lord Shiva is also the best devotee. Radharani is the best devotee. But they're all the best. But then you have the supreme best. That's of course Srimati Radharani. But Tulsi is very very dear to Krishna. And if you chant in her presence, then sometimes she gives a little mercy. Then you feel who Tulsi really is. She has so much love, and like my personality is a little rough, rough. I'm a laborer. My conditioned personality. I'm a constructional laborer from Amsterdam, and they're a little rough in the mouth and a little straightforward. Anyway, that's not me. That's who I think I am. But anyway, but then if you have some contact with Tulsi or some contact with the holy name or some contact with the deity, then you feel how refined and how sweet and how loving and how beautiful Krishna is and Tulsi is and the devotees are. And then I see, well, compared to what I experience in my heart, that is, there's an ocean of difference there. But then we become attracted to the sweetness and loveliness of Tulsi Devi. That then somewhere in the mind, the idea comes up. Yeah, this sounds a lot better than what I'm experiencing. So this is what I want. So when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The simple translation is, oh Krishna, oh Radha, please let me become your servant. And that is very condensed meaning. And then you have, this is the example of a bowl of cotton. Sometimes a bowl of cotton, if you compress it, it's in the hands, and then you can fluff it out, it becomes very big. And so this Hare Krishna mantra is basically, I want to become a servant. I don't want to be this, just say it, rascal, this foolish, hard-hearted, stupid, gross. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says gross. This material world is a gross place. This body is gross. Our mind is gross. But I want this very high and very elevated, sweet and beautiful spirit. Because, that's what I am anyway. We are like this. We are spiritual. But we have making the mistake that we are thinking we are material. And we identify with our body. And usually we don't think we are gross and heavy. No, I'm a in my leather jacket and my blue jeans. I'm quite somebody, But anyway, at one point we come to understand that it's nobody. That is just. But that we can only understand if we have a little bit of understanding how the spiritual world is. I remember a very nice purport. It's this verse 3, Kanta, Parama, Parusha, that in the spiritual world, Svetadweep, they're the supreme goddesses of fortune. They practice the supreme conjugal love with Krishna as their only lover. So the supreme goddesses of fortune, they practice, even the goddesses of fortune, they practice conjugal love with Krishna. And where every step is a dance, every word is a song, the trees are desired trees, the water is... Anyway, so in the purport, it says the sadhus, by dint of sadhana bhakti, by practicing bhakti, as given by the Vedas, actuated by their own personal aptitude, and made powerful by their love. So the sadhus, they practice devotional service according to the scriptures, in their own moods, with love. They might get a glimpse of this spiritual world. It is said that the tiny cognitive function of the living entity, and so our consciousness is so small, we cannot get anything in there. It's like, in my case, tamas. All these beautiful descriptions in the Bhagavatam. It doesn't enter my consciousness because it's tiny. But then by the mercy of Krishna, because we're practicing this bhakti yoga with love and our own moods, then by the mercy of Krishna, the tiny cognitive function attains the quality of infinitude. Yeah, sorry about this English, but that's Bhaktisiddhanta's English. Our tiny cognitive function, we are the soul is 1/10,000th tip of a hair. It's very tiny, but it can get the quality of infinitude. It can be infinite. And in that infinite consciousness, which we get by the mercy of Krishna, we can understand Krishna. So this verse kind of wraps up the whole class a little bit again. That by practicing bhakti yoga with we try to do it with devotion. We can only try. And then by the mercy of Krishna, our very unqualified consciousness becomes big. And by the mercy of Krishna, because we try. And Krishna is the most merciful. He's always coming to the help of his devotees we're reading here. So the only thing we have to do is ask Krishna. Well, and while practicing, we ask Krishna, please help me here. You know, sorry, not in this mood. Please help me here. You know, very humble. And feeling yourself very unqualified. If you think yourself you're qualified, like I remember, I'm already 20 years ahead, Pujari. And by the way, I did Bhakta program at the same time. And by the way, I was also the Sankirtan leader. And I'm chanting 64 rounds for every Ekadasi, and I'm reading every day. Where's that mercy now? Huh? No, not like this. We see Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And actually, he follows in the footsteps of Madhvacharya. He says, I'm so, my dear Gopinath, I'm so low, I'm so fallen. If you try to find somebody more fallen than me, in that mood, we have to feel ourselves low and fallen. And then we approach Krishna, but please give me some of this mercy. And while chanting, that's very good. That's the most easy. While you chant, you can come into that mood. Please help me. I'm so fallen. I want this. I want to become your servant. I don't want to be. I had enough. I tried it. I tried already 100 million wives. Not in this lifetime, but anyway, in unlimited lifetimes. We are here unlimited. And husbands too. In other, I had pig wives. And dog wives, and cat wives, I had human wives, and human husbands, and everything. I've been trying, and I got money, and I got poor and everything, but I'm still not satisfied. So please place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O son of Maharaj Nanda, somehow or other I've fallen into this situation, and kindly place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. That's the Shikshastikam. We can learn a lot from that. So that's in that mood we try to chant, please, Krishna, I don't deserve it, although I still think somewhere that I deserve it, but anyway. We know we don't deserve it, but by your causeless mercy, please help us. Anyway, before I keep going, maybe some comments, questions.
I was thinking how in the Prabhupada was speaking about how the Lord was telling to Lord Shiva, after saving him from the situation, that he's giving the benediction, even not considering the consequences, for himself, so that it's not selfish. But at the same time, we know that actually it was not an intelligent thing to do. If you really care for the other, you don't give them something which is going to harm them. So then how to understand that? Because it's not that he doesn't know. He knows, but he doesn't, and still he gives the benediction. So what is the motivation behind? Because it's not going to please the person anyway. So what kind of psychology is behind it? I'm just kind of wondering.
It's the same with Lord Brahma, no? He gave this to Hiranyakasipu. There's many like this. Many demons got. And I have also this question. I couldn't really give you the answer. Why they do it anyway? But one thing is to say for this pastime. It's for pastimes. The Lord Krishna, he wanted to have a good fight, so he got Lord Brahma to give some power to this Ravan. All this, yeah. Now these are all pastimes. Yeah, that's the only answer I can give. The pastimes.
It's also nice because it shows like Krishna's supremacy, you know. Like, just commenting on what you said. I think it's also nice because all these pastimes, it shows like Krishna's supremacy, and how just through these pastimes, it's sort of like all arranged. I feel like it's all arranged, and this way we can learn to appreciate Krishna's like fullness and all his like abilities to kind of, you know, do all these like wonderful things. Yeah, it's nice.
I wonder if it is really, I mean, you can see it also among people, that they want to satisfy somebody, but it's a little impersonal in a sense that you don't really think about them, and you don't really think about how they respond, because they say that in the case of Krishna, I mean, Krishna is giving a benediction which is good for the devotee, but also the receptivity of the person who is getting the benediction is different than the receptivity of the persons who want actually to exploit. So it's not the same case, because Krishna wants to please his devotee, but also the devotee is accepting it in a way of gratitude, but not the same like I want to get it from you, because in the case of this demon, actually he wanted to have this benediction in order to kill Shiva and to take his wife. He said it was not. But in the case of the devotee, he is accepting the benediction and with gratitude, and then his devotion for Krishna is becoming more strong. So it's not just pastime. I think it's also certain mentality that we have sometimes. You want to please somebody, but without really thinking what is really good for them, just to have this kind of satisfaction, so-called. The person likes me, you know, even though we know it's temporary, it is just not really satisfying. But we do it for our self-gratification, but not for their. The material world, anything, even the charity, like we read about the demons. I am so powerful, I'm so rich, I gave some charity. For your own aggrandizement, yes, look how nice person I am, you know. But ultimately, it's all for yourself. Yeah, so there's all these subtle things. But the only thing to get rid of it all is to fall in love with Krishna. Ultimately, we have to fall in love with Krishna. Unless we fall in love with Krishna, all this selfishness will still there. It said even in Bhava, even in Bhava, we still have some subtle selfishness there. And actually, I don't know, even in the spiritual world, there is a little selfishness. It said about the queens of Dwarka, they still have some feeling that, no, I don't want to be there. No, that's too complicated. But only the gopis don't have any. They're the most pure. They have no impurities. Of course, the queens of Dwarka also have no impurities, but they have a little less than what the gopis have. But yeah, we have to get so many things. Yeah, like even Sankirtan, Srila Prabhupada Sankirtan, book distribution, that is the greatest thing you can do. But we have seen, you have seen, I have seen, that sometimes you can do Sankirtan for very selfish reasons. Yeah, like, I want to be number one, I want to be the best book distributor. And yeah, we can do, but it's better to do our devotional service with the wrong motivation than not to do it at all. Yeah. Okay.
I have two questions, if you think time allows.
Yeah, I will be quick.
On the point she also mentioned, I was reading yesterday, Prabhupada makes it very clear that Krishna uses his devotee to teach us a lesson. Yeah. And he says we should understand how to apply this, that although even if we might have no sins, no need to go through a certain karma to understand something, he uses these qualified persons to teach others because they will react in the right way.
Yeah.
So if you look at Krishna's pastimes many times, actually Krishna is using his devotee to teach us. And
Okay, yeah,
we
that's
can understand by these great personalities that, they're teaching us in that way. My question was, in what sense is the name Girisham given to Shiva? Is it related to a certain pastime, a certain quality of his? Giri is mountain, so I'm not sure what the name actually means.
Yeah? Neither do I.
Because Krishna calls him
Girisha,
Lord Girisha,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
So it must be a certain
of the mountain.
quality, yeah.
Well, he's living on Mount Kailas, so probably means the Lord of Kailas.
Mm.
I mean, but that's a speculation. That's,
I was also thinking that, but I don't know.
No, I don't know that.
And then in the penultimate verse, or the last verse actually, of course the beautiful prayer, but we hear so many times in the Bhagavatam these benedictions are given, but when you read that, just by hearing or reciting this one is freed from birth, and that means it doesn't matter what you do, no prerequisites.
Oh, that's not what it says.
Yes, so the point is we always say Jai, Jai, like that's it, we hear it, but what about everything else that gives us the qualification to actually benefit from this?
Well, there is a good explanation in the Nectar of Devotion of this point. And in the Nectar of Devotion it says, if you see the Lord on the rat cart, you don't have to suckle a mother's breast anymore. If you just see the Lord on the rat cart. And so many statements are there. If you once circumambulate Tulsi, or hundreds of statements. So then Rupa Goswami, he makes this point. So some people, they say that this is an exaggeration. It's an exaggeration in order to inspire us, to hear. And then it says, no, it's not an exaggeration. It is actually true for some people. Just like when the 4 Kumaras, they smell the Tulsi leaf. Now I smelled millions of Tulsi leaves and I'm not liberated yet. So some people have this. And there's another one in the Prema Vivarta from Jakarananda Pandits. Lord Chaitanya, he quotes maybe 100 verses from if you just chant once the holy name, you're liberated. And hundreds of verses like this. And then Krishna Das, he says he was an inhabitant of a holy dham, very humbly says to the Lord's so ecstatic, all these quotes about the holy name. But I can see that, and he was very ashamed to say it, because you contradict the Lord maybe, I can see not everybody gets this result. Just once chanting, when you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, Lord Chaitanya, he chants Hare Krishna, and tears are rolling from his eyes, and everybody see him, they fall on the floor, and they touch everybody's feet, and in complete ecstasy. But anyway, he says, I can see not everybody has the same result from chanting. Some people chant, and they go very blissful and enthusiastic, and some people chant, and they go back to their mother. Anyway, they go back to material activities and material life. And then Lord Chaitanya said, yes, this is true. It is according, the Supreme Lord, he lives in the heart of all living entities, and he gives the result of the chanting according to the faith. According to the faith we have in the chanting or in the activities, according to our faith, we will get the result. So that is with chanting, that is with deity worship, that's with reading, that's with hearing. We have to have deep faith. Of course, faith is part of love. You cannot love anybody when you have no faith. And so, but we have what we have, We have maybe a little faith, maybe a little love, maybe a little devotion. But if our consciousness is fixed, this is what I want, this is where I want to go, and whatever happens, even if I have to continue millions of lives chanting, I will not stop chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we have that faith, then Krishna will give quickly the result. Just like with Mukunda. Lord Chaitanya says to Mukunda, you go away here, you rascal, you preaching Mayavadi philosophy, and here with us you're dancing in kirtan, and when you're with somebody else you're chanting, you're talking Mayavadi philosophy, I never want to see you. So then the devotees went to Mukunda, and he said, and Mukunda said to the devotees, ask Lord Chaitanya if I will ever see him again. And Lord Chaitanya, yes, I will see him in 100 million lifetimes. And Mukunda steps up and he dances, yeah, I will see him, I will see him. And Lord Chaitanya, come back. So in this sense, yeah, we are very unqualified. Well, sorry, I didn't chastise somebody, but I told him, you should not say, I don't see anybody with any good qualities here, he said. And he didn't mean it bad, but it came out like this. I said, well, you cannot say that. You can say, I have no good qualities. Anyway, but yeah, even if we are very low, if our devotion is not very big, well, if we keep trying, because that's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that if he sees a little bit, he will fan it. He will fan it, he make it bigger for us, he will help us. Krishna will help us in our devotion. But we have to make sure we want it. We try our best. That's said, we'll have to keep our mind in Bhakti Yoga as much as we can. Of course, we are, so many of us are grihastas, we have to work, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to take care of our children, we have to pay the bills, we make sure the car is running, the house, the roof is leaking. But as much as we can, we have to engage in hearing and chanting and serving the deity. And Krishna will give us... this is important. I don't stop talking, but I want to say this point. You have dharma. 4 regulative principles is not devotional service. Varnashram dharma, being a good brahmana, being a good sannyasi, sudra, whatever, is not devotional service. This is dharma. Now, dharma is very necessary in order to practice devotional service. But it's not, if you're adharmic, it's very hard to practice devotional service. So in that sense, it's part of devotional service. But in another sense, it's not devotional service. It's dharma. Brahmachari is dharma. It's actually devotional service is to serve Krishna with devotion. And whatever you do. But anyway, I don't know how I came. Yeah, I came up with this because I'm listening to a lot of classes of His Holiness Bhanu Swami, and he always makes this point. You have devotional service between hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, deity worship, praying, becoming the friend. This is devotional service. Being a grihasta is not devotional service. No, devotional service is the 9 processes. And so some or other we have to... Ma Vishnu Goswami always says that if you have a little time left over, then you perform hearing and chanting, and because as a grihasta you're so busy with so many things. Of course, while you do your job, while you do you can always think of Krishna and always chant Hare Krishna. So in that sense you can do both things together. But it's the hearing and chanting. But whatever little time we have, we engage in chanting Hare Krishna and hearing and remembering about Krishna. These are the most important activities. The most is to remember Krishna with devotion and love. That's the most important activity. And we try our best. What can we do? But then the point is, if we try this, then we will get a desire to serve Krishna by practicing devotional service. Well, the desire comes. Lauyam, tatra lolam mulam ekalam. The Krishna rasa bhakti bhavita mati. The rasa, the love which we have for Krishna, will come within our hearts if we have a strong desire to have it. That's the only cause. And how do we get that strong desire to have it? If we associate with others who have it. And we can associate with Srila Prabhupada through his books or with the devotees. And we get that desire. And that desire becomes strong, then Krishna will give the results. He used to say, if you have the desire, if you don't have the desire, then desire to desire. And if you don't have the desire to desire, then you desire to desire to desire. Yeah, well, I can go on for an hour like this. But some or other, we have to get some desire to serve Krishna. But we get this desire when we hear the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna,